how did you keep in contact with the other two members after the split back in the 80s? Did you follow each other's careers?
Yeah, we all stayed friends really. I mean, Andy and I, when we split up, there was some difficulties between our lawyers, which kind of, like Andy was saying, there was outside influences which...
Lawyers make problems.
Lawyers make problems for themselves
to make one.
No, try to avoid the lawyers. And I mean, I must admit, I didn't see Malcolm, our drummer, very often. But actually Martin, the other keyboard player, I saw him all the time because my daughter and his son go to the same school, are in the same class. So
to see him in the schoolyard.
Yeah.
You already said something about the keyboard not being cool back in the day, and
well, to me it was cool.
Yeah, to the rock journalists.
But to the rock journalists, it didn't. You know, electronic music wasn't real music, and that was always the battle. You know.
And you liked Kraftwerk.
We loved Kraftwerk.
Wasn't it a bit geeky to be into that kind of?
I was a geek. You know.
We were both geeks. I mean, this is the crazy thing is we totally accidentally became pop stars. He was into electronics and I wanted to be an archaeologist. So I don't know how we ended up becoming pop stars and selling millions of records. We weren't trying. We were just doing our geek hobby in the back room at Paul's mother's house on Saturday afternoons. And then we were really surprised when we discovered that there was other guys in England who had obviously been listening to Kraftwerk too, and they were going on stage. So we went, okay, let's go on stage. And we were just going to do one concert. And that was 32 years ago.
And what was it that attracted you in Kraftwerk?
Well, it was different.
Yeah, it was different. I mean, you know, I'd heard Autobahn on the radio. Andy went to see them live, and it seemed like the future. You know, we were kind of tired of all this sort of, particularly the American sort of rock and roll cliches. It just didn't interest us really. It was boring. Yeah. We were looking for something new and exciting.
But we found our alternative in 1975 with Kraftwerk. So before punk became the alternative for many other people, we'd already decided that we liked Kraftwerk and German electro music because that was what we wanted to do, to be different. I think also, you know, we like kind of thinking and being kind of perhaps sometimes too intellectual about the music, and that seemed to suit us as well.
Do you consider them to be revolutionaries in music?
They are the most important band in the last 40 years of popular music.
I would agree with that.
Forget Muddy Waters and rock and blues, and Kraftwerk is the most important band. They changed everything.
And are you as English as Kraftwerk is German?
Pretty much, I think, yeah. Yeah.
How did that come out?
I was like, what, in our music?
Yeah.
Well, we sing in English, so I guess that makes it look something very English.
I think we don't take ourselves, I mean, we've always taken our music seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously because we grew up in Liverpool. Because growing up in Liverpool, you're not allowed to take yourself seriously, because people will let you know.
Yeah. So we've always had a good developed sense of humour and be sarcastic about ourselves, because as Paul said, if you're not, somebody else will be.
Is it still there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's definitely still there. Yeah.
If people in Liverpool think that you've got a big head or a big ego,
they knock you down, back down to the ground again.
When you started playing again in 2007, what did you have in mind? What kind of path did you want to
We
walk?
had no idea. No. We had no idea what was going to happen, but just slowly people were starting to ask us to play, to do TV shows, and of course the kind of electro thing was slowly coming back, and they were saying, oh, will you produce this record by this new artist? So we just said, okay, well, people are asking us to play live, let's try it. So we put 9 concerts on sale across Europe, and they all sold out. Mm-hmm. So we ended up doing 40. And that was when we thought, okay, people are interested again.
You must have been stunned when you were at the stage and you saw all these people.
Oh,
yeah,
we were amazed. I mean, it was finished. Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark was over. And you've got to remember, 15 years ago, the 90s rejected the 80s. Every generation rejects the generation before. So, when it all went indie rock and Oasis and Britpop, 80s synth music was totally out of fashion. Of course, now, in the new millennium, they've rejected the indie rock and they've gone, actually, the future sounds like 1980.
Yeah, a lot of bands have adopted the sound you, amongst others, have created back in the day.
Yeah.
Does that feel like a compliment?
Oh, it's flattering, definitely, when, you know, there's some bands out there, there's a lot of young bands out there that cite OMD as an influence, and it's, yeah, of course it's flattering, it's great. Because we spent so long, you know, fighting for our cause, that now there's young bands fighting for our cause.
It's great, you know. I mean, we feel like we spent, you know, 30 years ago we were swimming against the tide, and everybody was criticising us, and now, you know, all of a sudden we have respect and recognition. It's like, oh, it's taken you 30 years, but thanks. You know?